You have reached your destination.
Yep. Okay, so today is epoxy day. It's about 1 billion degrees below zero. It's not really, it's like 17 degrees where I live. And so I've been trying to heat up my garage, and especially the part that I'm about to epoxy prime. If you don't know much about epoxy primer, this is the bee's knees. If you are using urethane, toss that shit out and use this stuff instead. Epoxy is just like JB Weld. It's just like the epoxy stuff you get at Walmart or any of the big block store. It's a two-part thing, right? You got the actual, you've got the epoxy, and then it's hardener. So this stuff, all I do is place this. Comes with a cap, upside down. I place the can on top of it, and when I strike it, that puts the hardener in with the paint. You mix it up, you shake it for a few minutes, and then you've got ready to go epoxy primer. Usually when I do large jobs, like I did on my MG, I would mix the stuff. You know, it's a two-part, this plus that, and it's got a shelf life and a pot life and blah, 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 blah. Because my job is so small, I just ordered 2 cans of epoxy primer, so once this is mixed, I've got to use it. So last night, I took a sponge and water and all that other stuff and scrubbed this thing down. Made a point to get all the dust off and make it ready for what little there is to paint. Honestly, a rattle can full of epoxy primer is so much easier to use than having to mix stuff and then spray it down and then clean the gun and blah, blah, blah. If you don't know much about epoxy primer, do a little bit of research, and you'll find that this is awesome. I hate urethane because it is not a good blocker and it is not a good sealant. And I know there's somebody out there who's going to say, bullshit, I've used it forever, and yeah, that's fine, whatever. The thing is, epoxy primer, once it's set on whatever you painted on, is truly set. It blocks access to the outside environment. I'm talking water, I'm talking moisture, I'm talking air, I'm talking everything. Okay? So when I did my MG, I stripped this thing down to bare metal, everything. Had some things sandblasted down to bare metal. And before I did any body work or any repairs, I painted it with epoxy primer. Okay? And on top of the epoxy primer, excuse me, I did the actual body work. Okay? And then, you know, the primer sealer on top of that, and then the actual base coat, clear coat. This is why. With urethane, if you crack it, if you get past it, it's not very, it doesn't seal well, it's rather porous, and then you've got a rust bit that starts to spread. If you use epoxy primer on bare metal, it seals it in, and god damn, this shit is tough. Very tough. You take a rock chip in your hood, you take a rock chip in your front air dam or whatever, and it goes down to the primer coat, no big deal. Like I say, this stuff seals against water. It seals against moisture and everything else. And the thing is, you can, no kidding, epoxy prime your entire car or your entire whatever and drive around on it. It doesn't react well with the air, and it, after a while it turns a little bit ashy. But you can not have to worry about puddles and everything else. Okay, so if you're doing a rolling restoration, and next year is when you're going to do the paint, but this year you'll do the primer, epoxy primer is the way to go. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to put her inside. So without further ado, I'm going to hit the pause. I'm going to paint this thing. I'm going to do what's called a tack coat first, a very thin layer of epoxy primer. I'll let that cure. It'll sit on the hardtop for about 15 minutes, and then I'll do subsequent coats after that because it's so cold. Usually I would do just a one light coat and then a medium coat after that and call it a day. But again, it's gonna take a while to it'll take a while to set up, and I don't want to deal with drips and runs and shit like that, so I gotta go slow and deliberate. Fuck this weather. No, I shouldn't say that. I like the weather, but fuck the cold. I like the cold too. Yeah, whatever. Okay, first coat. The light tack coat is down. And I already see where I have some things to fix. God damn it. But I got all that shit. Anyway, it's a light coat. And I'll wait 10 minutes, let that kind of get tacky, and I'll put the next one on. And second coat. And you can see what a truly superb job I did at prepping. Getting rid of all the pinholes and little tiny ass things that I... Yep. God damn. I didn't see one of those things. Well, it's the beauty of a black coat. It shows everything. That... Those aren't runs. That's just body work needed. Damn it. So this patch is, you know, that looks okay, but not this patch. So, god damn it. Oh well. I know how to fix that stuff, I think. Okay, I've finally got some free time today and got into what I've done here. You'll see, god damn it, I put some high build primer on areas I knew I had pinholes, right? And you can see them. And now they're nice and smooth, right? I'm bringing up an old argument that I think I won from years and years ago when I was working on this little girl. When you're doing sanding and this kind of stuff, when you're trying to get a nice, even, beautiful, smooth finish everywhere, always use water, like what I'm doing now. Okay, so a couple sprays. Some people add a little bit of dish soap to it to make it glide even better, and you do a nice light sand. And you can see it comes off, and it turns into mud there at the bottom on my heavily used moving blanket. The argument I had with this guy was dry sanding. Okay, I'll use this one here, and I'll show you. A little bit of water there, but within no time flat, this is gummed up, right? He told me that he had owned a body shop way back when, and he would absolutely get angrified, yell at, or whatever his employees who would wet sand, because it is the improper way to do it. That's utter horseshit. So what you see here are the tiny particulates of a high build primer coming off, right? And I'll tell you, it makes it just a dream to sand down. Once this is done, I'm going to wash it again. I'm going to put some black primer back on and sand that down. It's called block sanding. Making sure that the surface is smooth everywhere for a beautiful finish. And we'll see how it goes. So I'll do this tonight. I will wipe it down, let it dry, and then maybe put some more paint down during my lunch hour if I can get home. Something like that. You know what? I'm even going to show you some of this in action. I think it's pretty fun. And obviously you can see how well it works. Okay, so I'm going to work on this section here. So I just pour a little bit of water down. Okay, so stop there. As you can see, And you can't tell because it's so smooth now. Pinhole, 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 bunch of pinholes, pinhole, pinhole. Things I didn't pick up when I was doing the first initial stage of body work. And this kind of thing is natural and normal. You'll find these things as you work on your own project, right? Like I said, I'm going to finish off the entire roof tonight, let it dry, get all the gunk off, and then put the next coat of stuff on there. You'll note that I'm using my hand, and if you're any kind of a body person who knows what they're doing, this is not the approved or best way. The blocks I've got that I have been using, I'll be using for the next set after this is all done. So have no fear. If you're the purchaser of this little beauty, you're going to get a good product that is put together correctly. I'm just on the third stage of probably 5 or 6. So a lot of prep work I'm going to put into this thing to make it look truly nice. There. What you see as stripes is actually water. It's evaporating off. That's me wiping as much of it off as I can, and that will very quickly dissipate. I'll show you. Yeah, see. So once the water evaporates, hell, I can do that before I go to bed tonight. No, I'll let it dry. You can see how good of a job I did with initial body work. Clearly I am an expert, but not at finding pinholes. Jesus Christ. And I see a couple more that need to get redone, so I'll hit that with the black primer here. And yeah, look at that. Lots of pin. Oh, that's smooth. Boy, it's just smooth as an Android's bottom. Yeah, and like I said, I'm gonna let this dry overnight and get to the next coat. Did I get that crap in? Yeah, I took it off my porch. I'll do that over lunch tomorrow. Let that dry, and then I'll be able to do some more wet sanding to it tomorrow in full black, using my my blocks and so forth. Okay, so that's it for now. Okay, so I thought I'd show you something. I've been doing probably 3 or 4 hours of block sanding, literally using a block and this one which got wet, and I'm drying it out, and using longitudinal and then side by side, and then at a diagonal, both diagonals, I have, wet sanding with my hands. I have, taken down the high spots. What you see is how badly this goddamn thing was put together. It's not smooth. If I were to paint this now and put a clear coat on it, you'd see rimples and dimples and just crappy looking goddamn paint. When you look at something shiny, you want to be able to see the reflection in it, right? You want to be able to see a nice even line of lights, and if it's wavy, you know that the substrate has not been prepared well. So I'm going to rinse this off. I'm going to take it back outside, rinse it off. Got a bucket waiting for me. Get all the other junk and stuff, off of this, right? Let it dry, and then I may take a few small skiffs of fiberglass filler to look for any egregiously bad low spots. Buff them out, sand them out so they're smooth. Put another coat of primer on here, and then call it a night, maybe. Or I'll just rinse it off, let it dry. I don't know. It's still night. The night is still young. It's not that late yet, so I'll keep on working a little bit. Okay, rinsed off. I gotta think out loud here. Nice and smooth. Alright, this is fiberglass. Fiberglass flexes and moves. My fear is if I use any body filler like Bondo, or even the fiberglass filler I have been using, it may delaminate, come off of the substrate. One of the ways around that is a mechanical adhesion, which is sandpaper. Jeez, I just don't want to. I don't want to risk that. Here's an example. It's wet right now, and once this dries, it'll be milky white. And what you're looking at, dark under is epoxy primer, and then maybe that wasn't a good idea. And above that is some sandable primer I've been using, like this stuff, right? It's high build primer, specifically to fill in those little dimples and the pin pricks and so forth. I thought I saw one, yeah. There's that. Nice and smooth now, by the way. And whenever you see discoloration like that, it shows pretty evenly that there's an issue. I'm looking at the lights. But I'm just so loath to put body filler on this thing. I may just keep on sanding it down until I get a smooth, even substrate everywhere. Yeah. I'm going to go have a beer. And I'm going to think this over. I'll let this dry a little bit. And come up with an answer. Yeah, it's 69 degrees today, and just last week it was snowing, so it's humid. I just went to the the store, and I'm driving home with my top down. So after I get home, I'm going to do hardtop stuff. Check this out. So I pretty much came up with my my plan of attack. What you see are all right, let's start with the white here, bluish. That's the color of the hardener of all of the fiberglass filler I put in. I've spent about 9 hours putting this stuff in and then sanding it down. What you see there is the mud from the water. I'm gonna take this outside and wash it off here in a few minutes. If you're the one that buys this thing, I want you to know that I put a lot of time into this. So, yeah. The rear portion is more or less done. You can see a lot of the fiberglass fill that I put in. Let's see, what did I talk about yesterday? How to keep it. All right, so prior to me doing all this stuff, I scratched up the areas I knew were low with sandpaper. That was half an hour's worth of work. And then mixing and tossing, and I got a trash can full of stuff I wasn't able to use in time. So I mixed it too quickly. And then I just started putting it in layers. And then today I spent most of my day sanding and washing, sanding and washing. I need to go fill up my bucket. I need to hose this thing down and see where I'm at. I have felt this thing, felt for ridges, using my longboards. Where is it? Where the hell did I put the damn thing? Using my longboards. Oh, here's one of them. Yep, here's another one drying out. And anyway, you can see that all of these different colors represent at one point a different elevation in this the substrate, and I have fixed that. So, yeah, pretty happy with myself, and pretty pleased. And I'm done washing it off anyway. So tonight I'm going to put the fan on it, let it dry out nice and thoroughly. I will put one more coating of primer on it to accord hide all these different discolorations. If I painted it like it is, it would look like that with the black. So you don't want that. So I'm going to put 2 more cans of the same stuff onto here. Let that dry thoroughly. Sand it nice and smooth. Well, it's going to be smooth anyway, but I'll do one more block sanding just in case. Maybe I won't. Gotta think about that. Anyway, I am a step away from painting it. So I want to be sure that I've got nothing else going on, that I have no more, I don't have any interruptions, work travel, work exploded, got busy kind of things. So I need a dedicated weekend to paint this thing. So I may just wait until next weekend. If the weather holds. God damn, it was 76 degrees today? Something?